Hi, this is Mad Cat, the angry egalitarian that discusses this and that. Today we'll be doing part 3 of our egalitarian counterpoint, What Has Feminism Done for Men? And I have no catchy comeback because I just realized I hadn't made one up. Wow, I'm bad at this. Just because you say you've done something doesn't mean you've actually done it. Actions speak louder than words. There we go. That's good. We'll go with that. All right. So if you're now just joining us for this, I've been looking at the articles by Elizabeth Plank and Hannah Wallen. Elizabeth Plank released an article earlier this year about the 23 points. What a weird number. 23 points that sorry, getting so easily distracted. 23 points of what feminism has done for men. And so far in the videos, there hasn't been anything. It's just a lot of misdirection of saying, oh, yeah, we've done something, but don't look too much into the details. And even a logical mind can easily see through it, but when you really start researching it, you realize it's like, what does feminism have to do with this exactly? So today we'll be doing a little bit more of that. So, of course, I'm doing something new with my channel. Please let me know if you like it. If not, I'll stop. But instead of my boring mug, we'll be doing screen share. So this is the article in question, the 23 ways feminism has made the world a better place for men. We'll also be looking at, excuse me, Dear Feminism, Not All Goes Both Ways, which was Hannah Wallen's response to this. You know, if it wasn't for that angry look in her face, she would be really sexy. Is it just me? Sorry, let me take care of this real quick. I apologize. The moment I start talking. This is what you get for doing videos on a whim rather than scheduling them. All right, so this was part 1 of our article on a voiceformen.com, and then part 2 was on the Honey Badger Brigade. And there we can see a lovely picture of Hannah. Say hi to Hannah. Hi, Hannah. Also say hi to Crystal over here. Hi, Crystal. So we'll be looking at these articles, but I thought for a special treat on this video, I would go through the pictures. Well, for each video after this, each time I go to a point, I'm going to show you the picture that was used. But for this showing, I will comment on each of the pictures thus far, since I didn't do this in previous videos. So we have this picture. This is what a feminist looks like. No, this is what a brainwashed man looks like. Scrolling down. Number 1, it gave our economy a huge, long-lasting boost. We can do it. He can do it. Apparently, she can't do it. 2, it helped men achieve better relationships and more satisfying sex. Are you smoking, baby, or is something on fire? No, seriously, I'm kind of concerned at the moment. It successfully overturned laws that discriminated against men. 6 court justices. Don't actually have a mouse, so I'm just using the arrow keys. It made life easier for single men. There's nothing gay about this. It expanded the possibility of more sexy time opportunities. There's nothing gay about this. It gave men more reproductive control through abortion legalization. So are these pregnant men or really ugly chicks? I mean, look at this one. She has a mustache. It triggered the FBI to change the definition of rape to include men. Guys, don't you hate it when you get caught up in the web of lies of female feminists? It gave men some well-deserved time off from work. You know, for being an article that's about women helping men, could you pick a picture that was more inclusive of men and women for paid sick time, not just women for? Because this picture seems like it's just for women. In fact, do you see a man anywhere in that picture? Oh, wait, there's one right there. I love Where's Waldo. It could be a man. I'm not 100% sure. It's not the greatest picture in the world. And my graphics card on this thing sucks. It helped male survivors of violence in the military pursue justice. I salute you, sir. Although that's not how you give a salute in the military. In fact, I'm not sure that's where you give a salute anywhere. 10. It ensured the burden of war doesn't only fall on male soldiers. No, these are daddy's glasses. And number 11. It made the struggle for civil rights a reality. How feminism had to deal with any of this, I don't know, but let's read it, because this picture doesn't need comment. It speaks for itself. Actually, I'll keep the picture there for you, and I'll read off my other screen. All right, so let's, as we do before, I'll read this section. I'll read what Hannah stated. I will try not to comment until both points have been made. I'll try not to. Women of color didn't only participate in the civil rights movement, they were at the forefront of it. Without their sweat, blood, and tears, the movement wouldn't have been successful, and yet their participation is often understated. Okay, so women were a part of it, but that doesn't necessarily mean they were feminists. See how that works? Even the role of iconic figures like Rosa Parks have diminished in popular culture. Although we have often remembered her as a single cause activist, refusing to give up her seat to a white person in a bus, how about on a bus? She dedicated her entire life to racial justice. Almost said radical, it was racial. Among many other things, Parks spent many years serving as an officer of a local chapter of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, and was intensely involved in the Scottsboro Boys trial. Brittany Cooper, assistant professor of Women and Gender Studies, African Studies in Rutgers University. So she has something to say on men because she does women's studies. Says that women were invaluable in the struggle for equal rights. Well, she is a women's studies teacher. I'm sure she would say that. There is no civil rights struggle without the labor of women. Or men. Let's not forget the men here. This is supposed to be about the men, right? Young women and girls disproportionately were on the front lines of school desegregation efforts, she told Policy Mick. The Montgomery bus boycott, for instance, would have been impossible without women. Cooper explains, it was successful in large measure because of Joanna Robinson and the Women's Political Council. She also believes that Paul Murray and Ruth Bader Ginsburg were incremental because they helped ensure that the word sex made it into the 1964 Sexual Rights Act. So sex made it in there, not gender. Okay, so that's a nice argument there, but you haven't exactly proven that it was feminists who did anything. Hannah, please regale us. This claim relies on two things: conflating women with feminism and the hope that the reader won't remember the work that male civil rights activists, It is a pitiful attempt to hide the coattails of a movement that feminist demands actually put at risk. So, yeah. Look, the civil rights movement was a very important movement in history. And it finally brought minorities to an equal stance with non-minorities, specifically whites. It's all well and great that that women were a part of it. Great, but so were men. And this is a movement that's kind of brought forth and helped minorities to be equal to whites. Some debate on whether or not that has been fully implemented yet. I'm not going to debate that here. But just because women are involved does not automatically make it feminism. It would be great. I mean, women does not equal feminism. And yet, anytime a strong woman does something, it's for the feminists. The feminists did it. And, it's basic. This is something I see a lot today, especially when it comes to those women who identify themselves as anti-feminist because they don't like what the movement is about. And, feminists try to use their trick logic. It's like, well, if you support equality, then you're a feminist. No, you don't own the rights on that word, equality. So it is bullshit what Elizabeth here is trying to do. So let us go down. It kept prisons safer for male inmates. Would you joke about this man being raped? Well, it depends on which feminist you ask, honestly. How about now? No, I'm sure those same feminists would still joke about it. Anti-sexual violence efforts don't just benefit women. They often provide accountability and services for male rape victims of rape as well. The Prison Rape Elimination Act of 2003, spearheaded by prominent feminists activist Lovisa Stanow, advocated for the 200,000 inmates that were sexually abused in U.S. prisons and jail every year, most of whom are men. The organization she heads, Just Detention International, also helped draft and get the bill through Congress. Thanks to the tireless efforts of Stanow, who used to work as the executive director of Pacific Institute for Women's Health, the federal government must carry out a comprehensive statistical review and analysis of the incidences and effects of prison rape each calendar year. This mandate extends to prisons, jails, juvenile facilities, military jails, and Indian County country facilities. Sorry, my vision's going wonky right now. Oh, wow, you got a bill passed that they have to keep statistical information? Woohoo! Thank you so much! Hannah, can you say something I can disagree with? Because everyone thinks I'm playing favoritism to you right now. I mean, this is just really bad. It's not much of a counterpoint if you keep saying stuff I agree with. Just Detention International was founded in 1980 by Russell Dann to deal with the problems of rape, sexual assault, and unconsensual sex, slavery, and forced prostitution in prison contexts. Its battle against sexual assault in prison is not a feminist effort, but a decades-long humanist effort. It's not even a feminist organization. Using a single individual involved with the organization to try to claim feminist credit for the organization work is shameful and childish. Well, I guess I'm not going to disagree with you on this point. Although the feminist standout can be credited for trying to shoehorn the situation of sexual abuse in prisons into feminist theory by first focusing on the minority of victims, men victimized by other inmates, and ignoring the majority of victims, male inmates victimized by female staff and female inmates victimized by other female inmates, all while wrapping her criminal ignorance in a feminist bow. Male on male inmate victimization is actually female victimization because the man being penetrated is seen as the woman, and thus prison rape is really about the rape of women in the community, the real victims of rape. Oh, that just pisses me off. Let me finish before I respond. When feminist theory has its way with the reality of sexual violence, the truth is left huddled in a shower trying to wash itself clean. At the same time, feminists are responsible for perpetrating the discrimination against men in criminal court. How helpful is that? Is this the article? There's a section that I want to read of an article. Let me see if this is it. Yes, she links to an article. It's pretty long. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but there's a part of this that I do want to read that is very good. She wrote this article herself. Gender disparity in criminal courts, and this is an expert. The National Organization for Women, also known as NOW, has actively promoted some of the myths surrounding gender disparity in sentencing, as shown in this summer 2001 blog post about population increases in women prisons. The article mixes description of real issue, prison rape, with claims that women commit crimes only as accessory to male criminals, and uses anecdotal descriptions to suggest that female criminal behavior is a result of abuse by a man. The article goes on to lament the incarceration separates mothers from their children because a concern now hasn't shown for imprisoned fathers and their advocacy for increases in prosecution of men unable to keep up with child support obligations, and against shared custody proposals made by father rights groups. Feminist logic: female drug dealers are good and valuable parents, but fathers are disposable, except for their wallets. Now, the reason I read this in conjunction with this point, I mean, Hannah basically made the conjunction, I'm just following through on it. Here's the thing. You can have a feminist work for an organization. That doesn't then make everything that organization do a feminist action. And you're just riding on the coattails of that. It's like, oh, well, a feminist was here doing stuff, so that means it's a feminist initiative. No, it wasn't a feminist initiative. It was a humanist initiative. Human rights, which feminists are the biggest violators of human rights. Check out my FDNY video. That's such a violation of human rights right there. And it's the feminist imperative that's trying to force it through. And now you're trying to get credit for something that a lot of men have been working for many years. And the rise of claim is, oh, well, now they have to keep statistical information. Well, if feminists are doing anything about it, how about you get out there and try to stop prison rape from happening? And how about you focus on actual victims and stop making this about, oh, well, men were raping other men and the other man is seen as a woman. So it's really about victimizing women. We should focus on rape that violates women. Oh my fucking God. Rape is bad. Not women who are raped is bad. Rape is bad. How difficult of a concept is that for you? Seriously. Because you have a vagina, you can only see other vaginas as being victims? Is that what it is? Well, let me introduce you to the penis. I'm sure you've never seen one before, but this is what men have. And this can be violated. And just because it's erect right now doesn't mean I want to fuck you. You're proud that they collect statistical information and this is feminism at work. No. Feminists are the ones who are saying that men deserve to be raped or men can't be raped. You're ignoring the fact that female correctional officers are raping men. And it has also been shown that they're raping boys in juvenile centers. Because at the end of the day, it's her work versus his. It's a correctional officer's work versus a prisoner. Men and prisoners lie, so we can't believe them. And that's how they get away with it. More than that, it's women raping women. We ignore that fact. We ignore women raping men, but men raping men? Oh my God, let's do something about that. Because really, at the end of the day, it's men raping women. And that's all rape ever is women being victimized. And when those men rape those other men, they really just want to rape a woman. You are fucking stupid! Moving on. It enabled men to spend more time with their children. So cute. It's good to have a nice positive image to work off of. Hold on a sec. Okay. Thanks to all of this video stuff, I'm getting a little bit more popular, so that makes me happy. I'm glad that my voice can get out there. Okay. That women can bring home a big chunk of the change through paid work versus unpaid work means men can work less and spend more time with their kids. Something that's good for both children and their fathers. The time fathers spend with their children is not only rewarding, it's also purposeful and contribute happiness more than time spent working. Thanks to feminist activism, paternity leave exists, and more men are taking advantage of it. The effect on children are immeasurable. Children who spend more time with their fathers are more likely to succeed academically and less likely to abuse drugs and be delinquent. In fact, research shows that children whose fathers do more than 40% of chores inside the home are more likely to excel in school. Clearly, when men have the ability to spend more time at home, everyone wins. Do you feel that? There's a disturbance in the force. It's rather strong. It's such bullshit. Can you feel it? I mean, it's all around us. Hannah, please say something to this before I explode again. This one starts out with wrongfully giving feminists credit for women working, established as false in response to the first claim. The link is supposed support of the paternity claim does not show that feminists were behind its creation, and it does not look good considering the author's track record of falsely claiming other group successes as feminist activism. Regardless, while the author claims that feminism has enabled men to spend more time with their children, feminists have contradicted her by actively fighting against fathers' rights using demoralizations of dads as deadbeats and abusers. Currently, women in the U.S. are awarded custody the majority of the time, and interference with dad's time interferes with dad's time with the kids is common. Instead of assisting men in spending time with their children, feminist activism has resulted in enabling women's abusing custody laws to evict fathers from their child's lives. So, yeah. So basically, they're saying it seems like feminism wants men to have more time with their children. Unless, of course, the mother wants a divorce and fights for sole custody and pushing the man out altogether. Aside from that, men need to spend time with their children to help boost their sense of responsibility and accomplishment, unless the mother decides that she can do it alone. You can't have it both ways, Elizabeth. You can't say that, oh yeah, feminists wants men to stay home with their kids, and then say, well, a woman should get to decide if a man is involved. No, it can't be both ways. Now, if a man is truly bad for the children, yes, okay, I understand. But the same thing for the mother. If a mother is truly bad for her children, she shouldn't be allowed to go near her children. However, in this country, it doesn't matter how bad a woman is. She will still most likely get custody, no matter how good of a father a man can be. But we want them to spend more time with their children, then let us. Create a fair system in the family court system. I know this is talking about women working more hours, but that's not even necessarily something that feminism has done. This is just something that women did. And once again, you're basically stating that anything a woman does is something that feminism has done. And you can't do that. That's not how this works. For those keeping track at home, I'm now moving to part 2 of Hannah's article on honeybadgerbrigade.com. All right, 14. It has expanded the definition of hate crimes to include all identities. Nothing smart to say here. I support the LGBT. I know that this protest is about LGBT, but we'll just leave that there. All right, Elizabeth, please have something positive to say. Actually give us something, you know? I'm tired of yelling at you. My voice can't take it anymore. The National Organization for Women, now, along with many other social justice organizations, led the effort to change the definition of hate crimes to include gender, sexual orientation, and disability. The Matthew Shepard and James Byrd Jr. Hate Crimes Prevention Act was passed in 2009 in Congress and expanded the scope of what counts as a hate crime. Before this law, only unlawful acts on the basis of race, religion, and national origin were included in the category. Expanding what is considered a hate crime has offered well-deserved protection to the LGBT community, BTQ community under federal law. Is it me, or did she not say the word men once in that? This is supposed to be a better place for men. And well, let me read through this again. Blah, 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 blah. I'm not seeing once that she mentioned the word men. Wow. You know, this is supposed to be benefit of men, and yet she hasn't mentioned anything about men in that one. Hannah, this really isn't a benefit to men, but a political move to gain support from politically charged groups. And while legislation has been expanded to include many interest groups, it doesn't include all identities. Groups that social justice warriors don't find politically useful are not protected under the law. Oh my God, is that so true? Do you know what the most hated group is? Well, if you listen to my videos, you already know this one. It is being straight, white, and cis male. Guess what I am? Straight, white, and cis male. I am the most hated thing on the internet. Most hated thing on Tumblr. And if someone were to discriminate against me, there's no protections that I can be offered. Because everyone else feels, oh, well, you're white. You already have privilege. Oh, you're a male. You already have privilege. Oh, you're straight. You already have privilege. No, that's not how those things work. Racism, sexism, they still exist even for white people, even for men, even for straight people. And you can't change the definition around to only cater to those who you want it to cater to. Oh yeah, you did something great here, but it has nothing to do with men. I remember there was this article about the co-owner of Archie Comics being sexist to her male workers, where she would call them penis. Hey, penis, come over here. And her response to that, when a lawsuit was brought up, is she said, well, you can't have sexism towards men. And so many feminists supported her on this. You talk about hate crimes and all of that. That's borderline hate crime right there. That's passive-aggressive hate that she has towards men. And feminists, if you really cared about all of this bullshit that Elizabeth is saying, you would have been all over that woman. You would have said that it is wrong. It is wrong for what she has done, and she should apologize. She should renounce herself and leave that company, because she doesn't deserve to be there. But no, it was against men, so it doesn't count. Now, if it was against women, that would have been a problem. If it was against blacks, Asian, Hispanics, that would have been bad. If it was against gay people, that would have been bad. But because it was against white males, it's not a problem, is it? No, we can basically kill white people and no one will care. That's the message that's being given out now. White people don't matter because they have this privilege. I'm not advocating for killing white people. I'm not advocating for killing anyone. But this is the message that's being sent. To hate white people. And that's what feminism is doing very well of. Even the white feminists, which is scary. So, you help define rape crimes. You help change the definition of it. Yeah, to what you want it to be. Yeah, you extended it for other groups based on other criteria. But me, I'm still hated. Go figure. It helped shatter stereotypes about HIV/AIDS patients. I have no comment for that. All right, so did you know that women were deeply involved in the demand justice for AIDS victims in the 1980s? Princess Diana, for instance, was hailed as a feminist icon for her involvement in radical, in quotes, causes like HIV. She was also the first high-profile figure to be photographed touching a person with the disease to have HIV/AIDS charities among her patron charities, something that had a pivotal impact on the public perception of AIDS. HIV does not make people dangerous to know. You can shake their hands and give them a hug. Heaven knows they need it, the royal once told reporters. About Diana once said to reporters, at a time when there was favoritely believed the disease could transmit through simple contact. Challenging the community held notion that patients were gay men were to blame for AIDS, were to blame for their illness. Princess Diana made sure to embrace patients, including gay men. Although the demographic of AIDS has drastically changed over time, homosexual men were disproportionately affected in the 80s, so much so that the disease was labeled gay cancer. And if Princess Diana's commitment to helping men with AIDS isn't enough to convince you, the majority of AIDS-fighting drug was actually also invented by a woman. Well, that's all well and great, but again, you're not proving that feminism is behind this. You're only proving that women are. Okay, Hannah. Looks like you might have a bit to say on this. Once again, we see the writer giving feminism credit for another group's achievement. In this case, she's co-opting activism, which began fervently pursued by physicians who encountered the syndrome, their patients, and patients' loved ones. AIDS activism coalitions were largely composed of gay and lesbian activists during the early years. And it has been the LGBT community which has put the greatest effort into shattering those stereotypes. Further, while Princess Diana was arguably a famous woman, the author does not show justification for portraying her as a representative of feminism or crediting feminism for anything she achieved. In fact, it's rather amusing to see that the writer is seeking an example of an icon of feminist accomplishment, how to settle on a woman whose voice was only heard because she was born into aristocrats, sorry, I can't read, and married into royalty, and whose activism was a part of standing wife of a political figure role. What's the matter, Miss Plank? Couldn't find a stronger, more independent woman? Well, once again, I'm forced to agree with Hannah. Yeah, I'm under threat of torture. Here's the thing. I've looked up Princess Diana, and there's a lot of feminists out there. It's like, oh yeah, she was a feminist. Here's the kicker. She never said she was. She never once said, I'm a feminist and I support feminist causes. I don't know why she would talk like that. She's clearly not from the country I was voicing, which I don't even know what country I was voicing. Sounded a little southern Louisiana. I don't know. But you know, as much good things as Diana did, there were bad things that she also did. And I'm not going to go through that because this is not a video to shame her. But you can't just latch onto a strong female and say, oh, well, she's helping feminist causes. Okay, she might be helping feminist causes, but that doesn't make her a feminist. You know? I'm an egalitarian, and I support. There are feminist causes that I will support. You know, if they're actually trying to do something for equality and equity. However, that doesn't make me a feminist. If I do, that makes me an egalitarian. So this entire thing is just about, here, I'm going to switch to the angry feminist picture. Stop it. Yeah, here we go. Because this is what I imagine anyone who reads this is like, yeah, feminism is out there for men. Thinks that this, the person who gave me this article basically hated me because of my views. Because initially I said that I thought she was very good looking. And, she was trying to do this whole fat shaming thing. And I'm like, well, you're very attractive. But she wasn't fat shaming anyone. She was saying that, you could be beautiful in any shape. And she started like, no, you can't say I'm beautiful because you hate women. I'm like, I don't hate women. I just have specific views. And then she shows me this article when I challenge her, hey, tell me something positive that feminism has done for men. Gives me this article, and it's all bullshit. So that's why I imagine most feminists looking like such anger in their eyes. It's sad. But this article is just filled with anecdotal evidence of just saying because a woman did it, it's a feminist cause. And hasn't actually proven up until this point. We are more than halfway through this list. And yet, I am not convinced in the slightest that feminism has done anything for men or has gone out of their way to do anything for men. And at best, has done something for women which has had an indirect effect for men, but didn't set out to have that effect for men. But at worst, you have no idea what you're talking about. You're taking 23 random things and trying to fit a narrative. It's like, oh, well, you see, feminism was a part of this the whole time. You just didn't see us there, but we were there. No, it doesn't work that way. And this is what I love about the men's rights activists. They're out there checking and double checking. Making a list and checking it twice thing. It's near Christmas, so I thought I'd throw that in there. So, they're out there, and this is what I love about Hannah Wallen. I love that, she has a great retort to this, and she provides a lot of links. They do both provide a lot of links, but Hannah's links tend to really support what she's saying, whereas Elizabeth's links kind of like, well, here's a link, but don't really read what it says. Just believe that I have it. And that's the way it feels. I can't wait to get through the rest of this, but I'm not convinced that feminism has done anything for men other than something that was indirect. And when feminists are asked, well, what has feminism done for men, or what positive contributions has feminism done for society in the last 20 years, they come up blank. If this was such well-known information, feminists would be a lot quicker at answering this information. Instead of saying, oh, well, all those other feminists out there, they're not actual feminists. Oh, no, you have it wrong. No, you're not the actual feminist. Because those other feminists that you say are not feminists, they actually are doing something in the name of feminism. They're hurting our society. And you are too busy saying they're not actual feminists. Believe what I say, and all I'm going to do is play with my hair and say, life is unfair. Go out there and do something. And first, clean house. Take care of what you consider to be radical feminists in your movement. Speak against them. I can't stress this enough. You want to convince me that they are not the real feminists, you are the real feminists, then you need to deal with those radicals. You need to undo the damage they have done and stop using their research to further your cause. Well, 1 in 5 women experience rape sometime in their lifetimes. Guess where you got that from? A radical feminist. What you consider to be a radical feminist. Every time you use that quote, you are supporting the people you claim you don't support. Grow some fucking balls. I know that's a man reference, but it fits here. And go against them. It proved to me and prove to all men that you really believe what you say and go and do it. And stop wasting my time. Anyways, this is Mad Cat signing off.